make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironsides here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter and I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment that made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years, I watched my country change. Watched its work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
You speak as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, this is Cooper for Telepathic Bunny Comics. Welcome to a very important show. got a guest you might have seen before, might know his name, might be familiar with him. I don't know. You know, pretty familiar in these circles, though. Let me go ahead. Mo is stopped by. I would say Bancroft is at the very least sung adjacent. I'm sure that's an in joke. He'll have to explain that to me when he gets on here. Well, let's see. Down past the Mo speak. We got Creators Outlet, Mo, saying hello to Mo. Hell nerds and pendejos. I don't know why he keeps calling me pendejo. I don't think that's a compliment. I just don't think that's a compliment. But, I don't know. Anyway, I have to look it up one of these days. But anyway, so let me bring on the man himself. And got a little bit of a... hold on a second. Got hung up on that comment. There you go. All right. Let me introduce him.
Look at the size of that boy's head. Shh. I'm not kidding. It's like an orange on a toothpick.
You're gonna give the boy a complex.
Well, that's a huge noggin.
Accurate. You're muted there, T-Bunny.
Yeah. Yep. StreamYards doesn't let me go sometimes.
I think Mo was referring to the title of your stream. Because you see, you got best unsung hero. So he said, "I'm sung adjacent."
Oh, okay. All right. Granted, you probably have more sales than pretty much everybody that's been my guest so far combined. So some would argue that doesn't that makes you unsung. But I think basically the show's about what's going to be the next trend in the mainstream, and I don't think you've broken through the mainstream yet. I mean, you've yet to crack six figures, correct?
That is correct. No, accumulatively over multiple campaigns, but yeah, not in one. No, I think the last one, this one, just broke 75K last week or so, which is still pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's still amazing. But when you talk about when I talk about unsung, I don't mean in our circles, our small little corner of you're definitely sung about in our circles here. But breaking out of that, I know that you've gone on some pretty big streams before. I know that you were on Yellow Flash at least once, and some other pretty large names. So you're making your way up there, and you've got pretty nice size channel. So I appreciate you coming over here. But yeah, I always call my my channel daddy, because I kind of like was inspired by your channel to start my own.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Especially my Monday call-in show follows kind of your format to where I'll bring people on with a topic, and then the last little bit we'll go into their whatever campaign. Well, you're the first person I've seen do that, and I just think it's better than just a straight up shill show.
Absolutely, yeah.
Getting to meet somebody or getting to see how their brain works, before you get to the project, kind of like humanizes them and kind of maybe gives people a better idea who they're backing. So I've always liked that idea, that philosophy. Looks like we got a few comments over here. Let me get caught up here. Let's see here. All right. Crack pack, no bandejos. Okay. All right. Hell Bogan. All right. 1 second. Hola, T Bunny, Michael Mo, Creators Outlet, Cranberry Lingers. Evidently is not here. He's not here. Okay. Okay. Did crack six figures in dollary dues.
That is true. Thankfully to the low performance of the Australian dollar. Yeah, I suppose I have made six figures.
Oh, there you go. For pocket change, but it's just still 6 figures.
It's real currency here.
Yeah,
it's nowhere else.
There you go. I'm just watching. Oh, okay. No big deal. Welcome anyway. Let's see. Sells Bancroft sells things. Yes, he
Sometimes.
does. Yeah, sometimes.
I have some books to sell.
And some books, right? Hell Cranberry. All right, where's my Bogans at? Hyper Wizard. Hey, welcome. And he's slumming it today. Well, thank you, Creators Outlet. I appreciate that.
No.
That's okay. Yo, Cranberry and Creators Outlet. All right. Anyway, so the real reason I bring people on, I have, it's because I like their work. I like the writing and everybody I've had on so far. Some of them haven't really had that big of a success, but I just really like their design philosophy. I like their, I like what they're doing with their product, and you kind of really have something amazing going on. And I have managed to cultivate a little bit of an audience that's outside of our circle. I'm starting to get some people in that aren't part that's not like cannibalizing off of the channels, and so
and that's the hard thing.
It is. It definitely is. I can always tell when you're streaming. When my channel is,
Yeah, and everyone feels that with other bigger channels as well. So.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I understand the ecosystem. I mean, it doesn't bother me one bit. Anyway, Bancroft sells books, puzzles, posters, and during the heady days of Thailand voyage, he allegedly sold himself.
Now those are allegations. No evidence of that.
Yeah, that may or may not have happened.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I look at Bancroft. I don't think Ladyboy, so I'm not entirely sure what kind of.
Well, especially the last time I was in Thailand, I was 17 years old. So.
Oh, well, you might have looked like a ladyboy back then. Oh, okay.
Maybe I did have long hair. It was like shoulder length when I was 17. So yeah, maybe.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Maybe.
Got to show. But yeah, okay. Well, hey, who knows? Anyway, hey, what happens in Thailand stays in Thailand. We're not here to talk about what may or may not have happened over there. First of all, I want to talk about. Let's see. Let me get it. I'll talk about this one. All right.
Infamous.
Yeah. This is the crackhead cut.
Yep.
So
aptly named.
Yeah. Otherwise known as unedited. And has the. I didn't have a problem with it, but it does have the the world famous hand, which there you go. See, people have hands.
There you
go. People have hands like
live
that.
It.
There you go. But yeah, I didn't get the crackhead cut before, but then somebody told me there's some clues in there that might tell you a little bit more about what this what's about. So.
Amanda actually really likes the crackhead cut because it does have extra info in it that we excised for readability and flow. Comic book, no one likes to buy a comic and feel like they're reading a novel. Like, if you want to read a novel, read a novel. If you want to read a comic,
well, I mean, there is a lot of big word balloons on that.
Yeah.
I would say that this particular panel right here, if anybody's looking for some information, that one right there, that might be a place to look for some extra information. I'll just say that much. I did see something new there. I'll just say that much.
Interesting.
But,
I haven't read it in so long. I have to go back and see what's in there.
Yeah. You may have given a little bit of something away to the nature of what we're dealing with here. Something about being a ghost that popped up. So it's like something clicked that I saw elsewhere. And you're talking about this one here. This, with the ring on the back.
Yep.
Now, this one, that world famous Ella image there in the water puddle. But you obviously the coloring has just really gotten better.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And as you see, the word balloons are no longer novels. You definitely pared that down a little bit, but I can see where you stretched it. From one page to like almost 3 pages here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was does Joe still edit for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. How's he doing? I haven't
He's
heard
doing
that.
he's doing really well. He's doing really well.
Okay.
He's sort of, he stepped away from social media completely for
Right.
his own
Right.
health and sanity. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
he's doing really well actually. They
Mhm.
they had a really bad couple of years, he and his family,
Yeah.
and they've all come around, gone on top of it, financially, medically. He's still living in
Mhm.
California, unfortunately, so there's that. He has to deal
Yeah.
with that.
Oh,
But
no. Yeah.
I know there's some in the
Right.
chat here in that same situation. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's doing really well, and he's really
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
about where we're taking the Lucent. So
Mhm. Well, I am excited too, but we'll get into that. Creator but outlet to smash that like button, ring that bell. Thank you. T Bunny never saw Merkel. I know
we
an
don't need to
Angela
talk about
Merkel, but I don't know.
that.
Okay, no problem. All right. Once again, okay. Hail crackhead Ella. Yeah. Yep. Let's get infamous. Bendis would be proud of that panel. Yeah, he might have been very proud of that panel.
I think he'd be proud of that, like that crackhead cut altogether.
Yeah,
Like,
it's kind of his
more
speed.
words actually.
That's kind of his speed. Sup everyone, Valley Law, welcome. I don't think you've been on the channel before, so welcome in. Merkel was black. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did miss that.
I don't remember any of this. This was in the old days,
Oh, right. Well, Mo remembers everything. Everything. If you made a slip up of a dialogue like from 3 years ago on a midnight show that nobody saw, you at least didn't think anybody saw, Mo will remember the day. So he's the conscience of our all our various channels. So he exists in his own reality. I'll just say that
exactly.
much.
He keeps extensive files on all of us.
Oh yeah. And you need that. That kind of Jiminy Cricket. Very acerbic, sarcastic Jimmy the Cricket, but still Jiminy the Cricket. So, we got good stuff citing. Hey Bunny, hey Bancroft. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bancroft, Mr. Good Stuff. Welcome. All right. So in this one here, now one thing that people that are looking into back in this book, I will tell you this, that Mr. Bancroft over here is not afraid to make you go, huh? As a matter of fact,
putting it.
As a matter of fact, he really kind of enjoys doing that. He takes some kind of like pleasure from,
perverse, pleasure.
Yeah,
from
kind of a perverse pleasure. Yeah, I'll just say that much. It's a beautiful book. It's absolutely. Let me see. Let me get. I really think your design language is what really sets us apart. I mean, there are people with more horsepower, with the writing and stuff. I mean, with the like details. I mean, you got your Del Keones, and so everybody feels a little insecure around Del Keone. Peter Gilmore, around our circles. But the thing about it is your art fits this world in this book so well that I think if you went with Del Keone, it wouldn't fit.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, and I agree. I have read books where I've felt like, the art is amazing. It just doesn't fit with this story, and I find myself I'm not really paying it. The art doesn't add anything to the story, as beautiful as it is, because it's the wrong kind of story for it. And then there's been others where I'm like, oh wow, this is such a perfect marriage of this style and this story.
Well,
I
when
appreciate it.
you got like pages like that. I mean I mean you do a
The
lot of like,
Colossus pages.
oh yeah, like puzzles. You off these
Yeah.
pages, and that was
Yeah.
the first one. But when it comes to the writing, I mean, you're not really about answering questions. You're about telling the story, and that's kind of a lost art. Everybody feels like they got to put the cookies on the bottom shelf these days,
Mm-hmm.
to where everything's explained. And a lot of times when you are looking your all our favorite movies and things like that, you always go back, you can rewatch it because there's unanswered questions,
Yep.
because they didn't like explain everything. And so you always see like books with a lot of fan fiction when there's a world that didn't answer a lot of the questions, because
Yeah.
people like the Star Wars universe, you know, the reason why the EU was so, big and so expansive is because there's a lot of questions that George Lucas didn't answer. He built the world so big that people could live there. And what you have in this though is more of an MC Escher kind of like a painting, to where
Yeah.
that stair went nowhere. What? Why in the world?
I actually contemplated for a while doing a sort of MC Escher-esque kind of cover on
Mhm.
one of them, but I ended up going in a different direction.
Well, I hope you do someday. I really think that would that fits your
Totally. Yeah, yeah.
universe.
I think the concept fits
Oh, definitely.
100%. It's because
Definitely.
it is something that I do actually kind of strive for, is creating that intrigue so that
Right.
there is that
Right.
audience engagement. They as they're reading, they're trying to figure out themselves, and they've got their own theories. And
Mhm.
it's fun. I was thinking about this the other day. When you feel like
Mhm.
you have figured something out, and then it
Right.
is revealed to be correct,
Yeah.
they read it, they have that, like, they feel like, yes, I got that, that's mine. Like they
Mhm.
feel like they own a part of it then, because that was the thing that they figured out. And I always
Right.
do that in these sort of stories,
Mhm.
and I try to add as much of that as I can into it, which is why it is
Right.
the way it is.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Wyatt Eastman, welcome to the show. Haven't seen you in a while, sir. Good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, let's see. Let me see. Everybody hit like. Bo doing his job. All right, appreciate it. Yep, it's been hit, Mo. All right. Well, thank you, everybody that's done it. Let me see. It's puzzling, right? Right. Think about puzzles. That seems to be a common thing with the around your universe. Puzzles really
Mhm.
fit. Dale creates astonishing visuals, but transforming a picket fence into a convincing radiator isn't his forte. Right. Right. But does he check off the right boxes? No, he does not. He does not. No. White male and pale is pale and pale is stale. There you go. All right. What's up, bitches? Hey, Rick. I hadn't seen Rick in a while. Hey there. Good to see you, man.
Rick.
But for this first book, especially the interviews in the back, I went back and looked at the interviews today in light of the next book, and I was like, "Holy crap!" He told us some stuff right out in the open, but you only see it when you look back. So
Yeah, absolutely, and I love hearing that, because it was
yeah,
made like that, for that,
right, right.
intentionally. And
Mhm.
I've been saying this, and I'm like, it's been painful, because I got to wait until people actually read the second book,
Right,
so
right,
that they can actually, because otherwise, when they just read them for the first time,
mhm.
they don't have the context. I haven't
Right,
given them that yet.
right.
So
Well,
that's excellent.
I would call your books kind of like the last page of a Mad magazine. You know,
All right,
where
yeah, that's a good way. That's a
Or
good way to look at
till
it.
you fold it together, you don't really see the image, but it all
Exactly.
fits together and forms another image.
Yes.
But I would call those interviews in the back. For those who have questions about the second book, go back and read those interviews. There's a few things there that will answer some
And
questions.
anyone who doesn't have that first edition, because those interviews don't
Mhm.
appear in this edition,
Yeah.
they're on the website, so that you actually go to the character section
Oh,
on the website, and you can read them
right.
there as well.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool. I didn't get that second edition, so yeah. Yep. So that's good. The website is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description.
Yeah, the lucentcomic.com, and you can read. There's a character section on the homepage that you can go and read through them.
Right. Well, I always like going back and revisiting the trailer when I'm talking about a book. So here's the first trailer, but I got the Ascension version.
Yep.
I
haven't seen that in a while.
So this is the Wake and Dream Ascension recut. I don't know where Ascension Arts went. Man, that guy was good. But here we go.
When dreams and reality collide, a life is turned upside down. Thrust into a conflict where ancient shadows fight secret wars. For control of the future. Her allies hide in plain sight. But so do her enemies.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah. He for those with subwoofers that just went off, sorry about that. Ascension's sound engineer or something, but
and video editor. He was great.
Oh, incredible. I'm
sure
I
thought it was going to be the propaganda trailer, which was just all these people just essentially
right.
Yeah.
Really, you played that enough times. I can probably quote that one. Anyway, let me see here. Where we got to here. All right. Crowdsource the lore, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. No. Are there parkours on this show? No, there are not parkours on this show. That's a lore from my channel, believe it or not. I do have my own lore. That's for my show, Cryptids and Conspiracies. If you want to check that out sometime. But
for parkours, all right.
Yeah, we have. Well, I said parkour on the show, and then and one of my guys was like, "Parkour? What parkour?" And it was a thing. It was a thing. But that's been kind of like followed me ever since. So I've just gone with it. Anyway, sup T Bunny? Hey man, good to see you, Rick Sailor. Let me see. And God's good stuff. Always has a run. Got to run. Have a great show. Later chat. Later panel. Yeah, he's got the man show tonight, so I'm sure he has to get ready for that. Let me see. Michael, how do you manage to keep the puzzles, mysteries intriguing, but also keep the story smooth and accessible? Like, how do you deliver a dense story but doesn't feel too heady or burdensome? Practice, right?
With great difficulty and much failure and trial and error. Really, you just got to learn a lot about writing, I suppose, and do a lot of it and fail at it a lot, and then eventually, it works out. You know, one thing I will say, if you do want to write a story like the one I'm writing, you have to sort of know everything first. And then, so once you've got the world and you sort of have a pretty good outline of the trajectory and everything and the history of everything, then you take a character that's sort of like an audience stand-in, like Luke Skywalker was,
right?
When he first came on to. You know, Harry Potter is another one. In my story, it's Ella, obviously, who she doesn't know about it. This world that
Right.
you've built, she's in it, but she doesn't know about it for whatever
Right.
reason. And then
so
you
you're
just
discovering it alongside of her. Yeah.
exactly so that
Mhm.
that's I think how you keep it intriguing and people care about it, because if you can make people sympathize with that character, and then you're off to the races.
Well, I think knowing your lore backwards and forwards, or actually
Mhm.
having lore, really helps with that. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people like J.J. Abrams. A lot of times you can tell that dude just went into it without any lore, and he wrote it as he went.
Yeah, I
And
think a lot of the times, people they just want to make cool moments. And you
Yeah.
should want to make cool moments, but if they're just cool moments that don't actually have an
Connect
impact,
anything.
that there's no consequence, there's nothing behind it, and then it
Mhm.
doesn't go anywhere, especially, then that's tragic.
Right.
And then also you'll have people who have built this world and just want to tell everyone about it and just want to put it
Right.
all in there at the start, or in too much at once, and no one cares. People don't care about your
Mhm.
world. You got to make them care. They're going to care about these characters in that world, and then they'll start to care. But you
But
can't just
one thing that
dump
you do that a lot of really great writers do is they put stuff in, uh, knowing that some people won't be able, maybe people won't even see it or even
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you put it there because you want it to be there. J.K. Rowling did this a lot, to where she
Yeah.
put, she could go back later and say, "Oh, here's the Easter eggs that you missed," and then people
Oh,
are
yeah.
like, "Holy crap!"
My
But
second reading of Harry Potter, I was shocked
yeah,
at how much she had filled those books with things that, even in the first book,
yep.
that were, all the way later
All the
down the
way to
road. When,
all the way to the Deathly Hallows, you find stuff.
exactly. And I was
That's
just,
yeah.
I said, well, it's hard to say she's underrated because she's, a
Yeah.
billionaire, and she, owns the publishing world essentially.
Right.
But no, I think she is, like, people do kind of look down at, because Harry Potter is so mainstream and big. They don't actually realize, no, there's a really good
There's a
reason.
lot of art there, a lot
Yeah.
of nuance there, and she
Yeah.
had it at the first. So,
Yeah.
let me see. A lizard, a crack rock in every pipe, and a lizard in every lot. Okay, all right. Anyway, lot lizards, yay! Somehow Palpatine returned. Definitely a Mo, and I mentioned Hermione was black. Then what did you describe her as pale? Right.
Well, I didn't say she was perfect, but she is a good writer. I'll give
There
her
you go.
that.
Well, she is left leaning, which is hilarious that everybody thinks she's alt right now. Hilarious. Anyway, but one thing about that though, and when it comes to like the world that you're building, is that there is like levels to every single character that you've introduced. I mean, every single one. Even our father doesn't even make it 3 pages.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the crackhead cut, and he said something in the crackhead cut, and I was like, "Holy crap, he's part of it." I thought he was just kind of like hapless and kind of like thrown in the middle of it. But then in the crackhead cut, he was talking about that he knew what was going on, and knew that he got his wife killed. He wished that he had basically been more into the world than he was.
Yeah.
And and I didn't see that in like the main book that was in the crackhead cut. So I mean,
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing when you start working with an editor and you realize that things do have to be unfortunately taken out for the sake of the pacing of the story that you're trying to tell. Not that you can't go. I mean, obviously that lore with her father and her mother is still very important. And I've shown little clues to that. Ella is paradoxically, seemingly disconnected from her previous life with her parents and everything. At the same time, incredibly, almost life-threateningly attached to these photos that she received of her father.
Right.
So there is something going on there that is very interesting, and
Right.
obviously will become a big part of it. But yeah, I unfortunately did have to cut certain things because pacing is a real thing. It doesn't help if you create this story, and then you just like you overload and overwhelm people at the beginning of the book. They can't get hooked, and then they don't even read the story. So those are the considerations you have to make.
Well, I'm going to give the first book this rating right here.
That's a lot of carrots. Thank you.
Yep. So 5 carrots for that. Now you didn't quite get to 6 because I do think that the lack of answers does hurt the reading experience a little bit.
If people don't continue on, then it's just like, what was all this about? I understand. I understand.
And I know that some of the early reviews were like complaining about that. And so for those who are kind of like not informed or don't know what they're getting, I could see where that would be a turn off for some people that kind of like what they're everything answered. But that doesn't in any way, shape, or form diminish the book. I mean, 5 carrots is out of 6 is still
I'm happy.
amazing rating. And then I got all right. To get it. This one the other day. So this is The Painted Death. I failed to mention this in the unboxing, but look at that Shanth and Jetty print.
There it is.
Look
beautiful. A very difficult puzzle, I might add.
Yeah, I saw that. I might get that one from my sister later. She's a big puzzle maven. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Let me see. Whitey's I've always been told pacing issues, plot equals plot issues, but not in this case. Not in this case. The plots are fine. Let me see. Complaining about what? Nipples or lack thereof. No, that's not the not the issue. Not the issue. No. Now this one is actually a different animal from the first one. I was surprised at how much action was in this one. It went from the first one was kind of like a intense drama, with like some violence thrown in. It was kind of like almost like an indie film, in a way. But this is a blockbuster. Okay, and I was really amazed at the amount of pace that once it got started, it just like proceeded like a breakneck pace, and to the extent that I had to reread this several times to kind of like get clear, it's not that it wasn't there. It was just like there's so much coming at you. It's so dense. And I like that. I love that because that means that it's going to be hold up to reread a lot. And
I would say there's just the same amount of that kind of layered sort of information and stuff in all of those scenes as well. Right. But I do definitely throw a lot more at you because I mean, you're right, and that's the a function of what has happened to Ella. She was living this kind of slower and more normal life.
She was bored, pretty much.
She's in this now, and now everything is coming at her. So,
well, it's kind of like her dreams were more interesting than her living waking world, and then she found out that they're not separate. Isn't separate?
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. Definitely. Okay. Nope. Shantha and Jetty, what he does is not easy to do. Cranberry. You need to look him up.
No, he's a big fan of Shant. He's like,
he's joking. Oh, okay. All right. What do I got myself into? Well, that is part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. Anyway, that was my complaint. Okay. Yeah. Well, Mo complains to complain. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I like Painted Death even more than Waking Dream. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Amount of graphic violence. There's no graphic violence, not really. That's not part of it. But there's implied violence. There's a lot of implied violence. A ton more blacks, right?
There
Man.
is one moment at the end where it probably gets as graphic as I'm going to get.
Okay. Well, yeah. There towards the end. Yeah, agreed. You have to sniff out every clue like a certain dirty grandpa. Certain dirty. Well, okay. Whatever. Hell, Workburger. Welcome. Hello. All right. But this one here, once again, the first one she's like blowing up, where this one she's coming down. So I like that. This image on the back, the burning leaf, was very good, very clever. But this one, the art continues, but I used a lot more inset panels on this. I think you're kind of expanding your art range quite a bit. And like this right here, that is just really, really neat. Neat idea. I mean, basically it's a splash page, but it's like got one image in it, Yeah. And but it's like right in the middle of all this this frenetic action, and then you do that one page, and it was just like almost like the eye of the tornado in a way.
Yeah. Sure.
And what it does, it just like it's a change up, it's like a picture with a change up. I really appreciated that. And then your flashbacks are all really tight, but you're starting to see a little bit of a connection. And
because that was another complaint in the first book as well, that people didn't really see any of the connections between the prologue, the second prologue, the sort of flashback scene, and then what was happening in the real world. And of course there are connections, and people have been able to figure them out just from that first book, like kind of really eagle-eyed, sort of almost maybe even obsessive readers. But now in this one, I think I'm expecting people to come at me with some more cemented theories on how all this connects together, because I have given a lot more it's a lot more puzzle pieces on this one. I think you kind of gave us the edges on that first book, but this we're starting to get kind of into the interior of the puzzle, which once again, that theme of puzzle keeps coming back. Hey, leave Joe out of this. He doesn't know what he's sniffing. Okay, all right. Not who Joe is. I might have missed that. Cover looks amazing. I love the light around her. Right. That's Thank
awesome.
you.
Let me see. I was referring to a character in the book. Those clear parallels to Joe. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Look like a scene out of the Xeno Gears. It's cool. Right. Now this right here. I mean, the amount of detail to draw that right there. It's just one page. It's a transition page. It's a title page, but that really shows the commitment. I mean, when you look at that, when you look at the detail on there, that must have taken days to do that much detail.
Weeks,
maybe even weeks.
Yeah,
weeks.
But I don't.
Yeah,
there's a couple of pages I want to do that in each book, where for a lot of different reasons. That page is sort of, I'm thinking of it as sort of the establishing shot for the Lucent, even though I know it's in, a bit of the way into the second book.
Right.
You've been seeing, like, there's a lot of these French people kind of coming into the story now, and everything's sort of headed in that direction. Also as well, they're great pieces. These are comics. They're graphic novels. It's really hard to get anyone to pay attention to them. So I think it's good to do a few of these pieces that really just make people stop and pay attention when they see them.
Definitely
another reason to put a bit of extra effort into some of these.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there are people that I read their comics and it's like they did it just to get it out, basically. And then there's people that crafted it, the one comic, the individual comic that I gave 6 carats to was Shadowpunk. If you've ever seen it, that is something that somebody took like years to do. And he's got that 3D film that's like took him 4 years to make, and it all ties in. And this is somebody that like took a lot of time, and I see the same level of craftsmanship here. And it's craftsmanship. It's not, putting out a comic. It's somebody that understands what they've got, what comic books are. It's our hero fiction. Okay. This is not something to take lightly. This is not disposable media, even though even in the past, though, it's been put on disposable media. It's part of the DNA of the world. Hero fiction fills a gap. When young men do not have fathers, which it happens all across the world so much now. Hero fiction is what filled in the gaps and helped those men make it to adulthood and have those qualities of protectiveness, of sacrifice, of service. And he found that in a hero fiction. And so the fact that you take so much time, I mean, even look at the gloss, where you put the spot gloss is so strategic. There's so much thought, so much careful consideration that went into every single page of this. And
absolutely.
And one of the problems that I have with a lot of things that we get right now is the fact that, like you were telling Wyatt, that it takes a lot of repetition of writing, just as well as art. The whole Kirby thing about drawing 100 bad pages before you get to your first good page. Well, that's the same as writing. And a lot of what we're getting these days are guys that basically wrote their first script and put it in production. And what you're seeing is the first thing they ever wrote. And so it's like they treated the writing so casually that they thought they could do that. Yeah. And what you get is something about as shallow as a mud puddle. It doesn't have depth. It doesn't have subplots. It doesn't have character development. And this right here is like the nadir of that. That's like this is the opposite of that. This is not somebody that just put out a comic book to put out a comic book and wrote their first script and just threw it out there. More like regurgitation.
I've told this so many times, but I think I didn't end up with the whole count, but it's somewhere around the range of 150 to 200,000 words that I wrote before I ever showed anyone anything.
There you go. There you go.
And and in the middle of that, and that took a long time. In the middle of it, I was devouring. All
you had to put fuel in before you can put the stuff out.
Like I was not only reading novels, watching classic movies, reading classic graphic novels and everything, but I was learning about the trade, about the skill, how writers do what they do and everything. I'm still doing that. I still, if I've got something that I can listen to while I work, I'll put on videos about just certain things, and I keep a thing of writing ideas, not even just ideas for the story, but ways to improve stories.
We've all got those files, those ideas that come to us. Hold on, let me get back here. Let me get caught up. Where are we at? All right. Yeah, well, I'm doing my own modding, so it takes a little bit. Let me see. That mention the Eiffel Tower didn't take long, though, right?
They're going to another bigger, more ornate mansion in the third book, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. Had to get that puzzle, saw it on the stream for months. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Jeff.
Right. There's a frog in the well to demarcate the French half of the book. Yeah. Yeah. And oh, by the way, that was in one of the interviews. That frog in the well story was in one of the interviews.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, a lot of pain and dedication went into that book. Yep, right. And it's as shallow as Rob's brain pan. Well, that's not very deep at all. Anyway, hard work and ornate, right? Well,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
I was just about to say, you know, what you just said earlier. Imagine if you wanted to draw a comic and you just sat down and started drawing and you'd never drawn anything before.
Right.
And then you drew your comic just like without ever anything before and then put that out.
Yeah.
That's essentially, I think, what's happening with a lot of people who are writing their first ever thing they've ever written and just throwing it out there. And you know, unfortunately, if you're a really talented artist, you know, you can sell anything.
Right.
And then when you get the book and then you realize, oh, this isn't even a story. I've had books recently where I'm like, this isn't even a story. Like, this isn't. I said, you know, sometimes it's like imagine if you sat down and watched Star Wars and you went into the theater and it went, you know, Star Wars, and then the crawl came up.
Yeah.
And then it went, dun, 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 and that was the end.
Yeah.
And you just watch, and you're like, that's not a story.
Right.
But that's how it is sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with people devaluing the writing, and they're wondering why the mainstream has fallen off. They're wondering why these video games are just failing left and right, and it always comes back to the writing. You know, it always comes back to people basically wanting to like blow by the writing and get to the art, and I know we have a lot of art fetishists in this community that I've literally had them tell me, it's like, well, I don't care. I love the art. You know, I don't care about the story. I want the art. So I'm like, hey, you know, get an art book. You know, this is I got a very popular comic that came from a very big producer, and it kind of like convinced me to do this Unsung Creators because I realized I was pushing this book, you know, even though I was criticizing the book, I was putting this guy's name out there, and it's a book that I don't like, and I was like, well, why don't I push the books that I do, or the creators that I do respect, and so let me go ahead and do the trailer for Painted Death. And so this is currently available on lucentcomic.com. The link is in the chat and it's also in the description. But this is the latest book. So
You speak as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
right.
Yes.
What is that dialogue from? It sounds like it's from like a work of fiction rather than.
So that scene is sort of a reworked version of the Epic of Gilgamesh that actually
Right.
happens in the Epic of Gilgamesh, kind of. You know, it's
Yeah.
a reworked version of that. Some of the terms, like painted death, actually does appear in some of the translations. So that's
Right.
where I yanked that from. And I thought, this is just too perfect, you know. And the sentiments, even if they're not exactly the same, the sentiments are actually expressed in the epic. It's like, you know, you want to defy death, but you can't defy sleep. That's actually in there. So I was like, oh, this is just too perfect. So, you know, I gotta like weave this into my story and bring him in. You know, there at the start of every main Lucent book, we're following this mysterious character throughout time and history. And you know, it all thematically and you know, in it sort of like a symbolically represents things that are taking place in that book and in the story at large, and also of course, because everything's got to be layered. You know, this is a character who appears to be immortal, so one might assume he is still around in the current day. So there's that as well, you know.
Well, well, that's the one. That's the thing about it is if you hadn't read Gilgamesh, you wouldn't have had that for your book. And it's what I tell people all the time. And when they ask me how they can improve their writing, I say read more.
Yeah,
reading more will improve your writing immediately. And especially read people that are better than you. You know, one of my favorite authors is a guy by the name of Robert R. McCammon. And he wrote, he wrote like They Live. It's one of his most famous, and Boy's Life. Read Boy's Life if you get a chance. But he is so much better than me that when I read it, you know, but as soon as I get past the part where I want to just quit, you know, but you'll read like certain things and it's just like, it's beautiful and it's like lyrical and in a description, you know, it's almost like if you're a writer, somebody giving a description that is just absolutely like it's just sum something up. I saw this recently, a good example of this, the Deadpool Wolverine, that movie, with Daphne Keene, the X-23. She's talking to this down on his luck Wolverine, and she's telling him about the one from Logan, you know, and how he sacrificed himself for her and some others so they would have a life. And he's like, you think I'm that guy? I'm not that guy. And she's like, well, that's it. You never were until you were. All right, you know, and that's just like, it summed up heroism to me. That heroism's not about necessarily being a good guy. It's what you do when the moment happens, when the moment arises. That moment when it comes to you, that to protect others, to be you know, to give up your life or to sacrifice. That what you do in that moment, it doesn't matter everything you did before. All that matters is that moment. Were you a hero in that moment? And those are the best stories. Those are the stories of the, you know, the redemption stories. And when you see a writing, I mean, I basically shouted in the theater. I was like, that's a good line. That's a good line. I could write off of that line, you know?
Yeah, I think you and I are the same then. You know, anytime I hear a piece of beautiful writing or I read it or whatever, you see it in a show, I just get super excited and amped up and, you know, want to make everything I write that much better.
Right.
Because, you know, I think it's healthy to have this perception, this mindset, you know, like there's millions of people who are just so much more talented than you, and you can learn from them and strive to be them. That goes for both story and art.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, don't get yourself down on it. You know, like, you're never going to be Shakespeare, but you can learn so much from Shakespeare and all the greats. So that's really what I knowledge Cranberry Lang has put in Inception.
Yeah, Inception, right?
You know,
Well, one of the things that the other day I did a comparison side by side of Black Myth Wukong and Concord. And this is before I knew that they're going to shut Concord down. But I said that they probably were going to shut this down. But when you see the lore building that they took that myth and they made this beautiful game that's lyrical and beautiful, and the sound design is there where you can hear like wind in the leaves, and you can see it's so immersive and so beautiful and so well crafted. And then you see Concord, and Concord's a soulless entity that didn't come from a place of art. It came from like crass activism, and it's like in every pore of that game, you could tell that the gameplay was secondary to what they were trying to do with the character designs or whatever, and the character backstories, and that's the reason why over 1 million people are playing Black Myth Wukong, and then it never cracked 1K. Concord never cracked 1K, and they're like, why is that? They say like it's misogyny, it's this, it's that, and the other, but it's something more simple than that. It's people can tell genuine. People can tell what is true, what came from a place of art, what came from a place of creation, what came from a place of purity. Yep. People can tell. I think that when I see your work as opposed to something that I'm getting out of the mainstream these days, and
manufactured by a committee for cynical reasons. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the uniquely human thing. What is it to be human is we tell and enjoy stories. It's so ubiquitous. It is so part of our lives. We don't even question it. And very, very young children want stories from the moment they can say a word.
Tell me a story. Tell me a story. Yeah.
And it's like we sit and we watch TV shows and we read books and we watch movies and we tell our own stories to our friends.
Right.
So we know stories. It's part of us as an animal. Like it's our thing. So we can tell when it's not really a story. It's a manufactured product for some reason,
right?
Whatever that reason may be, and we tend to reject it.
Yeah,
when that happens.
And as a matter of fact, even if you agree with it, you see these people that like back his stuff and to the wall, and then you ask them, "Did you like it?" And it's like it's irrelevant to them.
Yeah.
Because they don't like it.
That's the whole SJW and comic books thing. They're like, we need this and that and this person and this kind of. We need more of this, less of that. Did you buy anything? No, I don't read it.
I don't read it. I just support it because it needs
because
to
it's not a good story.
Exactly. Right.
So yeah.
Oh, let me get caught up here. All right.
You could not be more wrong, Mo Biggs, about Arcane. You couldn't be more wrong.
All right. Does it feel like now that the pieces are in place, established art style and everything, does it feel like it's easier to crank out more stories, maybe a bit of momentum?
Yes, but that's only because I started. I had I had the seed for the Lucent in my head for a very long time, but it was never a story. It was just an idea. It was a premise. It was a what if this were possible. And it wasn't until I saw The Matrix that I saw, oh, that's an interesting way I could take a twist of that and write a story. I can see how.
Right.
So then I started learning about stories. So that goes back to like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until 2010, I think, that I started actually sitting down and physically writing. And that was probably a 5-year period of just, writing. But you do all that work, you lay all that groundwork. Yes, you do. You get the benefits of now. I can, I've built this world. It's rich. It's densely layered. That I can kind of draw from anything from it.
Oh yeah. I'm launching my first book, and I can tell you that launching a world in that first book is like the most difficult thing. I
Yeah.
could already I could write the script for the second book tomorrow, but getting this first one landed, getting the world landed and birthed out into the world is like such a intimidating thing. Transitions are really helpful for writers, like earlier Madrid, Spain, later establishing location and time. Yep, unless it's not part of what you're doing. I've seen things that were kind of like non-linear, where they kind of left it vague, and it worked. But that's a writing feat there in itself. Knowing history also helps. Definitely. Anyway, I love Boy's Life when I was in high school. Yeah.
I'm going to check this
That would
out.
have been about that time. It's an incredible book. It's about a young man. He's a writer who he's heading back home, and he's like kind of telling a story in his head of his childhood, and you can tell that some of it's embellished, through the mind of a child, and it's about this thing that happened to his father, and it's got a mystery at the heart of it. But in it just basically is a sweeping epic of his entire childhood, and the community and the world that he lived in, whether it was real or imaginary in his mind. He kind of like weaves together, and it's just beautiful tapestry of a boy's life. It really is the best name for that book. Anyway. So I'm talking about new novel T. Bunny was referencing. There you go. I read Nun's Life in high school a lot. I think that's pornography. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that was a book.
You're different.
Yeah,
different.
I think
animal?
that's different. That's a different thing. Not the magazine, although they did have an interesting comic adaptation of Norby the Mixed Up Robot. Yeah, he's talking about Boy's Life. It was like a magazine for boys. I did read that, and he actually got the title from that magazine. So that highlight was a big thing. Anyway, I'm excited to read the Lucent probably tonight. I have to read the first one first again, though.
Yeah, do read the first one again. I do a little kind of catch up, but it won't really retell the story. It's more of a kind of added narration thing. So
right.
Do read it again.
Yeah,
it will improve Brain of Death.
Oh, it does. It does. And really pay attention to those the interviews. Trust me, if you got the copy that has interviews in it. Message never succeeds. It has to be story character first, right? You can if you have a good enough character.
People talk about theme and metaphor and everything. That really does evolve, I think, out of the story. It grows afterwards, after you've planted everything. I think if you go into it wanting to, send out the message,
theme is something.
Probably
after you read it and you look upon it, you'll see themes that you didn't realize were there.
Yeah.
And right.
Along the way, once you notice what the theme is sort of becoming about, you can tweak it a little, like push it a little bit, but you don't want to start from backwards, I think.
Right. Yeah, if you start with the theme to start, if you shape the story with anything in mind at the start, then the story is corrupted by it. The only way to really truly write a story is to get yourself completely out of it, and let the story be what it's going to be. That's the only way you can truly write it, tell a story. It can't be part of you. It can't have come from you. You have to like treat it as something entirely different, like a pre-existing artifact, like a dinosaur bones. Is what Stephen King called it. Anyway, so the second, people don't want your anti-cultural foundations propaganda. Right. Secret ingredient is love. Yes.
And passion.
Definitely. Passion. Yep. Manufactured by committee for cynical reasons. Excerpt from the making of.
And that's what I'm saying is so wrong about. Arcane came about because of one man who was desperate to build to create something, and actually the parent company were really reluctant to do it for a long time, and he had to fight
Right.
tooth and nail to convince them.
Wow. There you go. It's like, yeah, the truer it is, the more interesting the story, and more you want to purchase it. Right. Agreed. Let's see, not necessarily an obvious manner, right? So Lucent like Antifa. Why? It's just an idea. I'm not sure. I don't think you should connect Antifa with anything, to be honest. You can tell when something is slapped together versus a story is well crafted, thought out completely. Art and story together are the product. Correct. Definitely agree. Let's say the Lucent, like the National Socialist Party of Germany, was just like idea Bancroft really supported. Wow. Goodness.
They really love
I forgot how mean your fans are. I forgot how mean your fans are. Goodness. Anyway, it's rich and densely layered as the Lamington.
Lots of layers in a Lamington.
Right. I like highlight. Yeah, there you go. That's a pastry, right? Are we going to get more Bancroft CG rant cartoons? I don't think he has time, to be honest. That takes a long time.
No, I don't think so. I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing some videos on cool indie books that I like. And that's probably
awesome.
it. Yeah.
All right. If you'd done that show with DP, you could have been the next Goofus and Gallant. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think the term message has been mutated. Ultimately, the message is just the point of the story. If you don't have one, you risk creating work without any meaning. But the thing about it is you can't like the story can't be the message. The message has to come from the story organically, and the message has to be like, the story has to be the story. Okay, first and foremost. If you write a story in its purest form, it will have a message to it.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing, because I know what Jake is saying is you don't want to write a work without any meaning. And I know what the Lucent is about. If you could sum it up in, one sentence, what is it about?
Right.
But I think that came about organically, naturally. Like long after I'd come up with a premise and I'd started developing characters and the plot started to, come into it. So it definitely is the message, the meaning of the story is definitely, entwined in everything. But yeah, I don't think I never sat down and said, I want to write the great story about this topic.
Yeah.
This subject. I didn't start. I think that's what we're sort of saying.
Well, it's kind of interesting. My book didn't come into focus until after the attempted assassination of Trump. And when that happened, it's like my story clicked in my head as to what the meaning of the story was and the reason for the story. And it was horrible that happened, but it was almost like there was something there in plain sight in my story that watching that happen just brought out, and suddenly it gave me a lot of clarity of thought but it came it was already in the story all together. It was already there. I didn't have to twist the story in any way, shape, or form to find it. It was there, but it's like, once that event happened, it clarified it. It brought it up. It highlighted it. And I was like, I'd be a fool not to use this because it's already there. It wouldn't be me twisting the story. It was there. And so
no, exactly. And I was going through the same thing. I was sort of coming out of my post-university stupor, where they tried to indoctrinate me and almost were successful in turning me into a socialist. But then, I thankfully came out of that and started reading a lot more about, liberty and history, and everything. And I think that was part of it. So, I don't think it matters because it's not like integral to the plot or anything. It's just, it's sort of what is the story kind of, what's underpinning it was, I was learning that liberty and freedom, human freedom, individual choices is dangerous and chaotic, but it's worth it because it's how we were always meant to be. And then the kind of top down authority that tries to stifle our basic humanity, it's safe and it's it's stable, but it's ultimately kind of kills our soul and it destroys us, and we're no longer who we're supposed to be. So that's sort of like underpins the Lucent. I mean, that was something that I was learning about at the time myself, and that is sort of underneath the whole story in and of itself.
But it was like if the story doesn't, like, if you're not like forcing the story out of yourself, if you're like
I didn't start with that idea at all. I noticed that was what it was all sort of, that was purely subconscious, and it sort of come about, and now it does inform things, but it's not it's not overt, it's not it's just sort of, that's I guess it's sort of kind of my worldview. If I was a socialist, like, you see communists and socialists, the kinds of stories that they write and what they call, and it's funny, like, you think of Alan Moore, and he's so upset that these characters that he thinks should be villains, everyone sees as heroes because they have an opposite worldview.
But because he let the story be the story, he wrote them. He didn't like nerf them. He didn't destroy them. But even though he hates their guts and hates everything they stand for, he let them be who they were going to be, and that's how you get Rorschach from somebody as god awful as him. Somebody that much of principle from somebody that has no principles that in his life that you can tell, that you can discern. But he created this principled character, but because he's a good storyteller, he let the story be the story.
Yeah, he let the character be the character, exactly.
And even though he thinks that guy's detestable, everybody feels like Rorschach speaks for them. Stand down a god and say, I am still going to do the right thing. You have to kill me.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of determination is admirable to everybody but people like Alan Moore. Okay. Anyway, but that just shows that he's a good storyteller. Not a good human, but he's definitely a good storyteller. Anyway, let me see here. All right. I get that. Hold on, pop it up. I get that Hyper Wizard social pillar tearing down message, right? Mrs. B fortunately smacked some sense into Bancroft.
Very true. Yeah. No, Mel was, when I met Mel, she was, Mel was always very conservative. Yeah. No, and she helped me. It was happening anyway, but she
didn't come from a conservative country, so Right. If you have a message that's inflexible and sticks out, the plot can't hide the message. It will look unnatural when the characters aren't doing things in their natural characterization. Right. Yeah. Exactly. And you can tell that's the difference between Black Myth, Wukong, and Concord. That's the difference. We're indebted to Melanie B. Yeah, we indeed are. And once again, she is the best packer of anybody that.
Absolutely.
I get. It's amazing.
We've had one damaged book, and that's only because clearly something very heavy landed on it, like fell down onto it on the corner.
Right. Right. Yeah, people are crashing throughout history. People foolish think people are generally cool. Right. I got you. Lucent's message, unlike Bancroft's narcissism, is not overt. Mo calling anybody narcissistic is a little bit problematic for me. I just have to say. Assuming people are good at heart is the cause of a lot of socio-political programs. Exactly. You can't start from the message. The message is what emerges from the journey you create. We got a good chat today. That's very good. Rorschach was 100% right. He was absolutely right. Overt. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. And it was a joke, or was it? All right. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give my review, my rating of Painted Death. This one was also okay.
Very happy. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's amazing.
Now, I would say it's more of a 5.5. I mean, it was like
wow.
edging right up on to 6.
Thank you.
But 6 is reserved for the ones that like really get me. Where brings emotions out of me. And while it's very enjoyable for me, it didn't quite get me to that point. Now, well, what I will say though is for the whole entire series, I have to give it a
Wow. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. And I was about to say, you didn't have to do that now. I was about to say, maybe by the time, more books are out, for the entire thing, you can give it that. But thank you. You're too kind.
Well,
thank you.
Well, what I'm talking about is writing excellence, art excellence, and just the level of care is so obvious that you care about every single aspect of it, and you've thought about every single aspect of it, and in a world where people just throw out product onto the market because they have the money to do it, without dotting every I and crossing every T, and then just like expecting team sports to make up for their deficiencies. I think you know what I'm talking about. I have to say that yeah, well, you may or may not know what I'm talking about. No, we're not.
I do.
You do. We're not going to go there. But I have to say that I can recommend this to anybody. And the reason why I do this Unsung Creators is because I want people to go back through this my back catalog on this show, and later on, and be able to see that I caught it, because I don't bring people on that I don't believe in 100%. I've had Shadowpunk on. I've had people with Bane Comics. He's been on. He's doing something with Pendragon, which is just incredible. I've had Dave Brink on. I mean, some really Broken Compass Comics guy. I've had him on, and people that are really making a determination to raise the art form and to dot every I, cross every T, and care about what they put out, and that kind of excellence is what I think is next. I think the mainstream. I don't see the mainstream comic book industry recovering. And the reason why is when they come up right up to it, why they've fallen off. None of them talk about content. And content is everything about why the comic book industry is falling. I mean, I heard Mark Millar talk with a whole bunch of them, like comic book shop owners, and they came right up to it, and they just talked about the business things that they're doing. They're talking about too many variant covers and things like that. None of them talked about content. And until they address their content.
That's so interesting you bring that up. I was just looking at a tweet thread about the rise and fall of Chainsaw Man. How it was just going up in the first volume and it's just going down in the second. And everyone is talking about the change of story. The first one was like this. The second one didn't have this, didn't have that, didn't have that. They changed this, they got rid of this character. And I haven't read that book at all, but that's although no one's talking about the industry and the changing economy and it's all about the story. So I 100% agree with it. And can I just say thank you very much for what you just said. I feel honored to be included in that group of unsung creators.
I need to make a a playlist of just those, just these shows. But I mean, there's amazing people who are not like household names. They're not people that were in the mainstream. A lot of them have never even sniffed the mainstream, and yet I think that what they're putting out is because of not having that mainstream like philosophy in their head of making product for consumption. Because of these people, they don't have that name to fall back on, so the product is the thing that they're selling. Like people like Shadowpunk, people like Stump. I had Nathan, I talked about Nathan Rosario's Stump. The guy's too busy to do shows. He can't do the whole, make the rounds. But that character is just incredible character. The world he's building is just so awesome. But he didn't have time to go around and like shill it all the time. But that book's a first day buy for me. And I think people like him. People who spend their days thinking about the characters, thinking about the world, thinking about building something from scratch. I think those people are the ones that are going to be part of what's next. And not saying some of these mainstream guys aren't going to be part of it, because there's some of those guys that are really, really paying attention to product and are really putting out amazing stuff. But I think the ones that I'm paying attention to, the ones that I am really intrigued by, are the ones that are completely from outside, who just love comics enough that they wanted to make their comic. And those are the guys that I'm like trying to feature on the show. And you're like the patron saint of that. In this area.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
I mean, you came from about as far outside as you can get. I mean, Australia. Okay,
that's true. That is true.
And
at the bottom of the world.
But when people saw your stuff, they saw when they saw these amazing architecture and saw these amazing this color palette that you came up with that's so unique to your comic, and just all the care that you've taken. And I just think that this is like, to me, this is like the people need to like take notes about what you're doing, and emulating in some ways, emulating what you're doing would not be a bad first move. Okay. And so for that reason, I definitely wanted to have you on as the best Unsung creator. Definitely. Let me get these last comments, and I know you're a really busy guy, so I'll cut you loose. But let me get some of these comments here before we go. Hold on a second. 5 dancing carrots. Yep, definitely. And it's like I feel like I'm in a drive-in. I'm at the drive-in. Okay, all right. I guess it's from the music. Definitely.
The dancing things.
Right. Yeah. 6 carats of pure gold. Yeah. There you go. Was that a compliment from Mo? Was that a compliment?
It is.
Really?
Yeah. No, Mo is. Mo is a big fan of Painted Dead, which is crazy, amazing.
Wow, you impressed Mo. I mean, that.
Yeah.
How he's actually.
I'm still trying to process it. It's
I know. All right, there would be more types of dancing concessions, right. Just the carrots, right? Just want more Lucent pinups. And good morning, everybody. Hey, Dave Brink. You mentioned Dave, and he shows up. Speak of the devil. There you go. Let me see. I just want more Lucent pinups, right? Hell Pendragon. Yep. Yeah, that book's just beautiful. It really is beautiful. James of Brown Compass Entertainment. That would be Broken Compass Entertainment. Yeah, but James Rock, definitely. James and Odin and Skunk Artworks. All 3 of them are kind of like Broken Compass over there. I think J-Bot's part of it too. Content, character development, and plot are super racist. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Idea that's appeal has been so dumb, it's funny fell off. The idea that's appeal was being
Let's
so
talk
dumb.
about
it's funny.
Chainsaw Man. Yeah, I don't know. I've not read it, but
okay.
it was interesting that it just tied in
Right.
with what you were saying.
Even Bancroft's background lighting is in lucent color. That's an eye for detail. Yep. I tell you what, man, the guy dots every I, crosses every T. I tell you. But yeah, me, I definitely need to work on my background game. Just tell a good story. Don't force crap down people's throats. You'll probably get a larger audience and more purchasers. Yeah, definitely. RJ Williams says, look at this crew. Absolutely. So my book hasn't arrived yet. They still going out? Yes, they are.
Yeah, they've all been sent, but they should be arriving.
Yep, you just said that.
Soon. Yeah. So some of them just get sort of stuck at the airport for whatever reason.
Anyway. Right, Broken Compass Entertainment. Yeah. They got a children's book that's coming out. Skunk Artworks is like drawing. That's going to be amazing. And
we're launching that tomorrow.
Power Metal. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah, definitely pay attention to that. The Power Metal album, they're gonna do that again later on this year. And those of you that missed it the first time, you guys need to pay attention to that. Kill Them Dead is what it's called. And it's got a power metal album with it. That sounds awesome. And it's a whole adventure. And it's something I've never seen before in comics. And they're part of what's next. I definitely going to push that. I backed it the first time and I'll back it again. Cranberry's thinking of James Brown, probably. Yeah, James Brown. I always got James Brown on the brain. Avoid Memphis and Little Rock. They are proven black holes. Okay. I don't know what you mean by black holes, but okay. Yeah. It's all part of living in America. Thanks, TB and Bancroft. Yep. Appreciate it, man. Power metal. What the F is that? It's a style of metal music that is more epic, more like Tolkien. If Tolkien was a wrote metal, that'd be what power metal is.
It's all about orcs and elves and legends told.
It's sweeping epics. People like Coheed Cambria is an example of that. I think Nightwish should be an example of that. They're more symphonic metal, but yeah, look into it. If you go down that rabbit hole, power metal is amazing. Amazing. Anyway, one more. All right, the world of power metal frightens and confuses me. Your world. Yeah, I got you. Listen to Blind Guardian. All right. I don't know about them, but I would check that out. But anyway, thank you for coming, Mr. Bancroft. Thank you for the fluffiest chat and all of YouTube, and for Bancroft's channel members showing up and ragging, Bancroft wherever he goes. Appreciate it. It's appreciated. But thank you for coming on, Bancroft. Once again, keep your head up, keep your chin up, and keep putting stuff out, and I'll keep buying.
Will do. Thank you very much.
So
thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Visit thelucent.com. The link is in the chat. It's pinned. And also the description for anybody that watches this and, rewatches this. Check out what else is there. He's got puzzles. He's got books. He's got T-shirts. Yes, T-shirts. And I think they're black light, aren't they? Black light.
No, it just looks it. It's got that psychedelic.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you should put a black light on and see if it is.
I know, right? I haven't tried it. I don't have.
Well, but anyway, so that's just been the show. I appreciate once again. So check that stuff out, and also check out Bancroft's channel. What's it called?
Just Michael Bancroft. That's
Michael Bancroft. Yeah, look up Michael Bancroft. And it's just a great channel. It's probably one of the most important channels, and I believe in this area. Still pushing books from unknowns. Not many people are doing that anymore. Everybody's like kind of become insular that have like that big of a channel. And you're really pretty much the only big channel I know that pushes unknowns pretty frequently. And it's very appreciated by a lot of us. You know, you're appreciated more than you know.
Oh, thank you very much. I enjoy it.
Except by Mo. You know, everybody but Mo appreciates
He'll
it.
appreciate it more when YouTube finally allows him to get his membership gift again. It's been blocking him for weeks now, so
wow.
he has a reason to be a bit salty. Being gatekept.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, so I think the way we're out of the darkness is to stop thinking about, you know, team sports and start thinking about books again. Who's putting the stuff out, and just put out good stuff. The rule of cool and the quality. Put out quality and good writing. That's the way out of the darkness, guys. You know, and maybe these guys that are playing team sports right now will follow the lead, or maybe they won't, and they'll fade away. But what's next is, you know, I think just follow the Lucent and you'll find out what's next. Anyway, thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time. Follow the White Rabbit, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.